Welcome to Unlocking Your Truth, another podcast by Dr. Leslie Phillips.
Everyone, welcome to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Leslie. My name is Dr. Leslie Phillips and I am your host. Every week we talk about a different topic in the area of health, wellness, metaphysics and spirituality. And this week is no exception. We have a guest in the studio today and I will introduce her in a moment. Her name is Annette Schneider and we are going to be talking about chronic fatigue syndrome, Candida and depression with Annette. Her name, as I said, is Annette Schneider. And she has healed herself of chronic fatigue, Candida and depression. Now, she's the author of two books. One is called Yeast Busting the Missing Link, How to Get Your Energy and Your Life Back. And she also wrote a book called Cthulhu Speaks, How to Use the Power of Your Mind. Now, Annette at one time was addicted to sugar. And her food that she was consuming was affecting her health. She had chronic fatigue syndrome, she had depression, and she was also suffering from Candida. So she says that she wasn't in control of her food was in control of her. After learning to use her mind to heal herself, she created a system to heal naturally, got herself off of sleeping pills and antidepressants, and today says she feels amazing and shares her wisdom with others who are going through similar problems. She's trained in over 15 healing modalities, including hypnotherapy, Reiki. She's an intuitive and a life transformation coach, and she helps her clients get to the root cause of their problem fast and teaches them how to heal the physical body and especially how to clear Candida. Hello, Annette. Welcome to the show. Hello, Annette.
Hello. Hi. I just had to unmute.
Oh, great. Oh, so how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
I'm great. Now, is there anything I omitted from the introduction that you'd like the listeners to know about you?
Oh, gosh, it sounded great to me. Yeah, I have done a lot of things. You know, when I explain what I have all done to people, sometimes I forget half of the things because I've learned so many different techniques and been training for almost 18 years now in doing different techniques to help people. So I forget my own list unless I take notes and write it all down.
Yeah. So, well, on to the subject of today's show, which is chronic fatigue, Candida and depression, amongst other things that you might want to share with us. And so I'm wondering for those listeners who don't know, I mean, most of us have heard of Candida, but for those who don't know exactly what it is, can you describe Candida to us and explain how common it is a problem for people?
Sure. It's quite common, actually, around the world. People are addicted to sugar, and sometimes they're not even aware of it. So Candida is an overgrowth of yeast in the body. So it's where the body has got too much yeast in it, and a little bit of yeast is okay, but if you're having too much yeast, it starts to affect your good bacteria, it starts to affect your digestive system, and it just causes a whole host of all kinds of problems in your body. And when it's left unchecked, it will just completely, imbalance your system to the point where you can't really digest anymore and you will start to become sick. So, everything is out of balance at that point. Mine was so severe that it was in my blood. So that's called systemic Candida. I didn't know what I had at the time when I had it. I just knew that I had flu-like symptoms. I had fever, flu, exhaustion, brain fog, sugar cravings, bloating, trouble digesting, symptoms like that, and I was like that all of the time, and it was getting worse. So at that time, I went to the doctor, and they really were not very much help to me, other than prescribing drugs.
What drugs did they prescribe you?
Oh, they give you antidepressants for the depression and pills to help you sleep. Because you're sick,
right.
So it's hard to sleep when you have fever all the time and you're not feeling well. So that's what they give you, but that doesn't take care of the root cause of the real problem.
And did they even diagnose Candida? Because you would think they would give you some antibiotics as well if they were considering that it was an infection.
Right. Well, the problem is, the thing is that people that have what they label chronic fatigue syndrome, for a lot of them, that's what their problem is, and they don't know. Someone has just labeled that. That's a very ineffective label. It doesn't really describe the actual problem at all. It's just a label. It's just a name. But the actual problem for a lot of people that have chronic fatigue syndrome is that they actually have too much yeast in their body, and they have Candida, and they don't realize that. And a high percentage, about 75% of people have that because our diet is so high in sugar, and people are addicted to carbs and bread. And so you can have it on a scale from very minor to very extreme. It can range from, so if you're at the very beginning stages of it, that's the best time to catch it, because once it goes to the farther stage, it's really difficult to treat. At that point, you're extremely addicted to sugar, so you might be anywhere, depending on along the line of that.
Mm-hmm. So chronic fatigue syndrome is a general term then that the medical profession has as a catch-all phrase for various conditions where people are exhausted. But what you're telling us that most of the time it's actually due to an overgrowth of yeast.
A lot of the time.
Yeah.
That is a big problem for people. It could be also, obviously, that it's not that, and they're basically burned out. I'll give you my definition of what I believe chronic fatigue is, chronic syndrome. My definition is that it's a person who they don't take care of themselves properly, but they may not be aware of that, but they run themselves ragged. They burn the candle on both ends. They keep pushing themselves going, and pretty soon their adrenal system is burned out, and they're basically using up more energy than what they're putting back into their body. They're not resting enough to let their body maintain enough energy. So people that have chronic fatigue syndrome, they'll tell you, well, they're depleted all the time because they keep using up more energy than what their body is just so depleted already. Their adrenals are usually burned out, and other things are in imbalance as well. And so that's my definition of what it really is. And a huge percentage of the time, it's also because they actually have too much yeast, and they're eating too much sugar. The sugar is feeding the yeast further, and it's a vicious cycle that continues ongoing. So if you've got the symptom of brain fog, that's a really key one. That's usually hands down. You've got too much yeast. You're tired all the time. You've got the bloating, and you've got the brain fog.
Now, is it more common in men or women, or do you think it affects them both equally? I mean, you can imagine the busy mum looking after her kids and going to work, but you can also imagine, the busy guy travelling for his job, working out at the gym and all of that stuff. So,
yeah, I think it's much more common in women.
Really?
Women are more sensitive. They take care of others, but they don't always take care of themselves. So I know because I went through it. So I went through a living hell, to be honest. It was extreme for myself, and I had it for a long, long time, many, many years, more than 10 years, and I just could not shake it. So this is really common for people. So if you have it and you're having that experience and you just feel like you're never going to get rid of it, you actually can. You really can, and that's what I teach people to do now in the program that I created. It has to be a complete program. It has to be. So what's missing when people try to treat it? They get the antifungals, they get the herbs, they get those things, the treatments, the supplements to kill it, and that's fine. But the thing is, it's not going to go away until you can learn to balance your life, balance your body, balance your mind, and release trauma from, there's usually trauma involved of some kind, trauma from the past or something from a relationship that has not healed. So every single physical imbalance that occurs in the body, it doesn't matter if it's cancer, fibromyalgia, whatever the imbalance is, it occurs because it is a messenger for the person. It's actually delivering a message. It's the body. The body is an imprint of what's going on inside the person.
Mm-hmm.
So this person has not dealt with inner traumas and things like that. They haven't dealt with things. They usually need to do forgiveness and closure with people. They need to learn how to love themselves. There's a whole kind of a long list of things they need to do.
Mm.
They need to change the way they treat themselves, the way they don't give themselves enough rest and so on. They're just used to putting themselves last.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all connected to it. It's a big thing. It's not just physical. It's the emotional too, the mental and emotional.
So let's explore a bit more this idea of beliefs impacting our health. And so you reeled out a whole bunch of different beliefs there, but maybe you can either reiterate or pinpoint a few common beliefs that you have observed in the people that you've helped to be underlying these conditions that we're talking about this evening.
Yeah, so the biggest thing with people that have diseases that are consuming their life is that they have identified with that disease. They've now taken on the identity of a person that is sick, and it's become very comfortable for them. And on some level, subconsciously, they actually believe that it's not safe to be well. This is a really, really big thing. This is like a huge aha thing that when I learned of this, I thought, yeah, that's absolutely true.
So why would they believe that it's not safe to be well?
Well, what happens is they often have grown up with abuse or trauma or something like that growing up that's caused them a lot of fear, and they start to go into victim consciousness. So that's believing that they're the victim and that things are being done to them. And the way that they've learned to survive is by sort of checking out, going into sort of being weak and being sick. And it's not, you can't really blame them because that's the experience they've had. So they now equate being sick and being weak with being safer, because usually whatever the abuse was usually less when they were not well.
Yes.
So that's just one example, but they equate that to being safe.
So when they've been in their power, owning who they are, they've attracted unwelcome attention, and in the form of some kind of abuse, and therefore they've learned that it's not safe for me to be in my power and and who I am, so I have to shrink in order to be safe. Gotcha.
Yeah. It's very common. It's not all of the people, but it's a very, very common pattern. On some level, they believe, and they're also afraid of stepping out in their power, to be in their power and to be seen and to, step out, because they know subconsciously that, if they become well, you take away, it's like a crutch, right? So you take away that illness, and now they have no excuse. And I know, because I used to be that way.
Mm-hmm.
I lived with that crutch for 10 years, and you just become very comfortable with it.
Mm-hmm. So that's like a really common belief. What other beliefs have you uncovered that underlie the condition of chronic fatigue, Candida, and depression?
Let's see. Well, believing that they're unworthy. That's a big one. So
Yes,
they
yeah.
believe that they're not worthy of love, or they're not worthy of money, or they're not worthy of health. They put themselves last. They think that everybody else is maybe better than them,
Yeah.
which I don't ever believe is true, because I believe we're all soul. We're not the human body, and we're all equal, no matter if we're man or woman or child. We're all 100% equal. We're all just as important as the next. We're just all completely equal. So that's a false belief. But that's a really common one, and it's understandable because they often grow up with that, in their childhood with their parents.
Mm-hmm.
It's what they see.
Yeah. So, why don't you share with us a little bit more about your personal story and how you struggled with your condition, and then in the end, as you overcame your challenges, how did you make sense of what had happened to you and why? Because I believe we create our own life experiences. So why did you create going through that experience for yourself? What were you needing to learn or understand? And how did you then apply that moving forward in your life?
Yeah, well, I just have to go through that. I can see that I chose that as part of my path, as a healer and as a speaker. That now I speak to people worldwide on this topic and other topics, and I'm really visible in the public eye now, and I do a lot of talks and I had to learn what it was like to go from complete disempowerment and victim consciousness to being fully in my power, so that I can help others, because a big part of my purpose is teaching others how to live their purpose and be empowered, and have wealth, have money, have health, all of these things, and they're all connected, by the way. Anyway, the money, the health, the energy, the joy, when you're in your joy and you're living your purpose, the money also comes. So if you don't have health, there's a good chance you're not going to have the wealth either, because it's all linked really closely together. So I did, as I said, I did have that for a long, long time, more than 10 years. And I just continued to struggle until finally I connected with someone that knew about supplements and the body and the Candida. I'd never even heard of it before. I didn't know what it was. And she told me to stop eating sugar and get off bread and change my lifestyle, change my diet, which I did immediately. And I started to get better really quickly. Immediately I started to get better, although it was quite a struggle, because I was so badly addicted. I had to really face that addiction. When the yeast is dying off, because you're starving it of the sugar, you go through quite a bit, and all of the emotions that you haven't been wanting to deal with kind of, come to the surface as well. But it's really the only way is to face what's inside of you, and once you do that, everything starts to heal and get better and release. So I had to also deal with my own traumas and abuses that I went through personally, and I had to face those, and I had to forgive. And knowing that, as a soul, we choose very difficult experiences to go through in order to grow as a soul. And we just need to go through different experiences, and sometimes they're extreme. Mine was quite extreme, but I also believe that because of the role I'm playing now, I'm a healer, and I work with people, and I speak to people, and I coach people. That's one of the reasons I needed to go through such an extreme experience, to take myself from, like, I could have died. The way I see it, I was that ill already that, the body was completely shot from the inside out. So I had to fully get the healing going, and it took quite a while.
Hello everyone. and welcome back to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Leslie. My name is Dr. Leslie Phillips and I'm your host. And on Unlocking Your Truth, we talk about health, wellness, metaphysics and spirituality. And today we have a guest on the show, Annette Schneider. And we are opening the lines to take your calls right now. So if you've been listening in and you have a question about chronic fatigue, Candida or depression, then feel free to pick up the phone. So, Annette, I had a couple of more questions that I wanted to ask you. One was whether you could share some case studies from some of the people that you've helped. And then the other was, I was wondering if you had a technique or two that you'd like to share with us.
Sure, we can do that for sure. So, I've worked with lots of people, and one lady comes to my mind, and she just said to me that she was so grateful that she found me because I was the exact right teacher and healer for her, because her problem was so specific with the Candida and the chronic fatigue, and she said she just couldn't get the help that she needed until she connected with me. So she said it was just wonderful to have the exact right teachings and the exact right program that exactly addressed her problem with the chronic fatigue and with the Candida. So she was really grateful for that it worked for her. And that's what I hear from people a lot, is that they're just so happy that, you know, it can work for them and they can finally be free of it. So even for myself, it was like when I finally got the last piece to the puzzle, you know, lined up all the pieces that would finally correct this problem, for me it was like miraculous, because I had it for so long, and you'll find that that's really common. So the people that have it, they have it forever, 10, 20, 30, 40 years, their whole life, and it just continues on in that cycle until they break it, until they get the emotional and the physical taken care of, both ends. So that's what I hear commonly from people, is they're just so glad that I help them get to the root quickly. So that's the other thing that they say to me, is that they're surprised how quickly we could get to the root of the problem. And they already know it on some level. When we go there and we find out, oh, okay, well, you know, they've had an ex that they've got so much anger towards someone that has caused them challenge or caused them abuse or whatever, and they have not taken their power back. They continue on in anger and resentment, and the body can't heal itself when the person is holding on to the past. So, you know, it's a combination of both things that have to come into place: the supplements, the physical, the diet, and the emotional.
Mm-hmm. So is there a little tip that you can offer to the listeners today to help them?
Well, absolutely. If they could begin by not eating bread with yeast in it, really no bread at all. If you're someone that craves sugar, then that's a strong indicator you've got too much yeast. You need to stop eating bread, sugar, fruit, and any kind of sweet food for a while, and just live on protein and vegetables and grains like rice and millet and quinoa and that kind of thing, and make sure you're drinking all of your water, and get onto a good probiotic, and just really get that sugar right out of your body. And then there's a little bit more to that, but if you're able to get the program that I've outlined, I have a lot more details. But that will get you started right there. You can just get that sugar out of your diet. You'll find that you'll get your energy back. So, and then we need to deal with the emotional aspect of it, and that's where you might need a little bit of help. So that's a really good little tip right there. And the second one, which is very powerful, you can actually raise your frequency in your body. And when we're not well, our frequency in our body, that's the energy that we run on, which is connected to our emotions and our thoughts and our feelings. It's quite low when we're not well. And so if we raise up our frequency, it will help us to feel better mentally and physically. What you do is you actually breathe light. You just imagine, first off, connecting into the earth. You can just ground your feet into the earth and take some breaths and open up your body. Just imagine your body grounding into the energy of the earth. And then imagine just connecting above your head to a very high light frequency, a nice high light energy. Just go above your head as far as you need to go. And then breathe in through your nose. Breathe this higher light frequency down through your crown and into your body, out through your mouth. And bring that down, all the way down into your hands and feet. You'll feel a tingling energy. And then do another breath, the same. You do about 5 to 10 of those breaths, breathing in light and breathing in higher frequency. And bringing it all the way down into the cells of your body, you will shift your system to a higher frequency. So you just sort of open your body like a pipe top to bottom so that you're grounded into the earth, and as well as you're connected up to the higher frequencies, where you can also connect to your guides and angels as well. As well, you can connect up to the theta level, brainwave called theta, where people commonly go when they meditate. And as you imagine going above your head, imagine connecting directly to the creator or the source of all that is. God, source, whatever you prefer, the name that you call that. And you'll feel a sense of joy when you just continue sending your energy above your head higher and higher. And once you make a link, you'll feel a connection being made. And you'll feel a sense of joy. That's when you've connected to Source. And then you can also expand your aura out. So once you're in this connected state from above and below, expand your aura out just to the size of your neighborhood, a little bit farther out to your entire city, farther out to your country or state, and just push your aura expanding until it's just outside the earth. And then at this point would be a fantastic time for me to go right into an energy healing, what I call empowerment energy healing and activation. It's a really powerful group tool that I use with groups. So I'll just go straight into that then, if that's all right.
Yeah, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, so just calling in. I'm going to call in right now the archangels to work with each person's guides and angels, their higher self, connecting directly to Source, bringing in the right frequencies and healing energies for each person that they need in this moment, as well as asking Archangel Michael to go ahead and begin removing any energies or beliefs that are blocking that soul from living their true purpose, being in their power, being in their full health and energy. So just allowing that energy, this energy is starting to run now. It's going to run through and serve each person on the call, and anyone that listens to the call will receive this empowerment energy healing and activation. So just be in a releasing type of intention that you are releasing all that no longer serves you, all negative beliefs, fears, old energies from the past. And if there's anything within you that's holding on to playing small or connected to victim consciousness, release and uncreating that. So everything is energy. Once you're aware of your blocks and you're allowing yourself to let go, they can release. You can reverse and release what's holding you back and what's standing in your way. So just let that energy run for a few minutes. Just imagine a nice vortex of energy that's spinning counterclockwise, and bring it down your crown and all the way through your body, down your spine, out your legs, flushing through old energies, old beliefs, old fears, old patterns, patterns to do with parents, even energies and patterns from ancestors, moving back all the way as far in the timeline as it needs to go. And then in your energy, absorbing and bringing in, giving yourself permission to have what it is that you would like to have. The permission is key. The decision and permission is key here. So you are the co-creator. I'm your guide at this point, assisting you and running the energies, and we've got the powerful energies of the heavens working with us. But it's up to you what you will create in your life. So when you're truly ready to let go of suffering, you've got something, an illness or something like that, know that you can definitely release that by your choice. So right in this moment, you can make a choice of what it is that you want to manifest in your life. How would you like to live your life? And just by making that choice, the answers, the information, the help will show up in your life. So the energies are really strong. I'm really feeling them flowing right now. Just letting that flow for a few minutes. Just giving your body and your cells in your body permission to let go of unwellness, old energy, stuck energy. If you've got anger or unforgiveness towards someone that you feel has hurt you or that has abused you, I would highly recommend that you either right in this moment release and forgive, knowing that you did choose to experience that, whether you know that or not. You chose that on some level, even before you incarnated into body, to expand and grow as a soul. So in order to bring your health and energy and your life purpose to you, you want to forgive, release everyone of everything, and activate your empowerment. That is the only way that you can do that, is by fully, because otherwise you will continue to be held in the past as a victim. And so Archangel Michael is reminding you, you don't want to be the victim. You know you don't want to be the victim. You want to be the victor. You want to be in your power, and you want to live your purpose and serve others, be of support to others. And when you're in your health and power, you can do that. So we'll just surround our entire group with really high frequency of love and high energy, so that everyone on the call feels a sense of joy and relief and release, where they're just releasing that energy that was holding them or that they were allowing to be held. Knowing that all things are possible, you can fully have your energy back, your life back, live your purpose, live in joy. And that also reminded that you are needed. Your gifts are needed. You are needed. So, totally sending you pure light, pure love, and activating inside of you the memory and the knowing that you are powerful. You are powerful. This is just a part of your life that you're experiencing right now, and it's not permanent. It's not written in stone. You can uncreate it. Yeah, so just bring yourself back into the present moment. Fully grounded back in your body. Just bring your aura back about 2 to 3 feet around your body so that you're more grounded. And anytime you want to do some healing work, you can talk to your body. It will listen to you. It will respond. The body has its own intelligence. It knows how to heal itself. You can connect to the light and to the earth the way we did now, and you can expand your energy out past the earth. In that expanded state, you're able to heal yourself much quicker. You're able to let go of things much quicker.
listeners, welcome back to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Leslie. My name's Dr. Leslie Phillips, and we are in the last 15 minutes of the show. And tonight we have been talking about chronic fatigue, Candida, and depression with our guest, Annette Schneider. And Annette, thank you so much for the healing that you did with us, and showing the listeners some of the things that they can do to heal themselves. If they would like to get in touch with you, how can they do it? And
they can phone me if they like at 778-318-2838. They can text or phone, and I can talk to them about how I could help them.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being on the show tonight, Annette. You're welcome to hang around for the last 10 minutes or so. What have you got for us, Corey?
Well, there are some, and mind you, a lot of them are sent in because of the intuitive aspect of it. But here's one, what Annette was talking about disease being from past trauma, and I'm a firm believer in that. I also do healings around that as well. And here's a lady, Elaine, that's emailed, and which I find very interesting. It's very short, very quick, but to the point in one way. And she says, "Do I have MS?"
Okay. So is that something you think you can tackle, Annette, or should we take a look at that together? So she's asking, do I have MS? Do I have multiple sclerosis?
Maybe we'll look at that together.
Okay.
I'm not sure if that's something I can do on over the radio.
All right. Okay, so Elaine, I'll take a look at your energy and see what I can see about... And of course, I'm going to go quiet just because I'm tuning into Elaine's energy. Because I go into a slightly altered state of consciousness to tune out the physical and tune in the non-physical here. So, well, I can definitely see that there is something going on, Elaine, and at the moment I'm being sort of tuned in more energetically than physically to the muscles and nerves, and what I'm seeing is that it looks to me like you've stored basically what we've been talking about this evening, that you have stored pain and trauma from your past, actually pretty much throughout your body. And so the areas that would be affected by the multiple sclerosis, I'm just seeing that you have really just a deposit of past time pain, and so there is definitely an issue, and underlying it energetically is what I've just been saying. So everything that we've been talking about this evening, that Annette's been helping us with, that relates to letting go of the past, letting go of your pain, letting go of your trauma, forgiving people who have abused you and that you may be blaming for the pain that you have felt. I'm seeing that all of that releasing and letting go and forgiveness would go a long way to helping you. And also, as we've been talking, I'll just validate, Annette, and say that, any physical symptom is the body talking to us, and usually the body will try other ways to talk to us first, often through the emotions. But if we ignore those earlier body signals, it will shout louder and louder until we are forced to listen. So it does look like there there's some long-standing issue that has started to manifest as a physical condition, and that I'm not sure if the doctors have diagnosed you with MS yet, or they're in the process of looking at it. But what I would say to you is, in parallel to consulting the medical profession, it certainly would do no harm, and I'm sure Annette and I would both validate that we believe it would help, is to do some energy healing as well. Whether it would be a program that Annette does, or a program that I do, or some other healer that you could find to work with. But I just validate, Elaine, that it does look to me like that there is something going on for sure.
Yes, and I've just got a couple of things that I was scanning her as well, and so the biggest thing that she needs to let go of is self-judgment. It really stems at the root of what this is all about for her. She's really, really hard on herself, and she's always learned, she's seen that, she's grown up with that, she's always learned to do that to herself. And the body takes that on when we're energetically judging ourselves. The body is feeling that. And the second portion that I was getting is holding on to pain, like, because it's familiar, the grief and the emotional pain. It's almost like she's holding it onto it. She's like holding it so tightly, because it's like almost like when little children hold a teddy bear. That's how she's holding onto her pain. She needs to literally be willing to release that. And I'm actually training right now in a really powerful technique that works exactly with that, to fully release that emotional pain that is now showing up in the physical body. So if she's able to do a private session with me, it could really benefit her. And the third thing that I was getting was, she doesn't need to, even if, and I'm not saying it's not good to go to be checked by the medical doctors. It is good, but what I'm saying is that we are able to turn things around. So even if someone is saying that she has something like MS, if she holds on to that label, the body will manifest it anyway. Yeah. But she can actually just let it go and say, okay, well, whatever they're saying it is fine, but I'm going to love myself into health, and I'm going to deal with my inner emotions, and I'm going to release them. So she's got that holding on. And so she really needs a really good, deep emotional clearing session, and that's where I'm really skilled at.
Yeah, exactly, and exactly. So I would validate everything that Annette said, and unfortunately, Elaine, we're going to have to move on for your question, because we did just get somebody phone in with a question.
Yeah, we have Jojo on the line, and Jojo on the line is suffering from RA, or rheumatoid arthritis. She wants to know, is it biologically or is it spiritual in nature? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the other line. So if she has any questions, retorts on your findings, I'll get back to you.
Okay. And of course, we don't really, biological versus spiritual, where everything is spirit, whether it's a manifestation in your body or not. But we will for sure take a look at the rheumatoid arthritis. And, it's funny, but I'm not looking at it yet, but in my experience, working with other people with RA, it's usually self-judgment, just like we were looking at with the previous caller. But let's take a look at Jojo. Mm-hmm. Tune into her specifically, and we do only have 4 minutes left on the show, so we're going to have to talk fast.
Okay.
Well, I would just say there is judgment, but there's also a lot of repressed anger. I'm seeing a lot of repressed anger, and especially in the second chakra area. So the prior caller, it was very much all over the body. Here I'm seeing repressed anger everywhere, but a concentration of emotional pain stored in that whole area near the second chakra. How about you, Annette, for a quick reply for Jojo?
Right. So holding on and trying to control. So controlling and holding on. It's a really rigid type energy with that. And on the physical end, it's acidity. So anything that's going on in the joints like that, you're needing to get your diet alkaline, get off of coffee and sugar, the acidic foods, because that's going to only exacerbate the condition. And again, same as before, a really good session of releasing emotions that are stuck within, inside.
Mm-hmm. Right. I'm just going to look at Corrie and see if Jojo's got anything else that she wants to say. If she's listening to us. No, doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like she does. So let's see if there's anything else that we need to tell you, Jojo. I would almost also suggest listen to this show again. It will immediately be on civl.ca in their podcast archive under today's date, and it will appear on my website as well in a few days. I think I'll see if I can put this one up quickly, because I would really advocate listening to what Annette took us through, that meditation that Annette took us through. Listen to it a few times, because each time you do it, you'll be releasing and letting go. And so I just want to thank you so much, Annette, for being on the show this evening and for sharing your wisdom, and especially for that lovely healing journey that you took us on. And very quickly, just tell the listeners again how they can get a hold of you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really enjoyed being on your program, and I'm here to help. I've been through everything, and I'm here to be of service. So you can call me at 778-318-2838. That's probably the easiest way to contact me.
Thank you for joining us. You've been listening to another Unlocking Your Truth podcast by Dr. Leslie Phillips. For more information, go to our website at drlesleyphillips.com. That's drlesleyphillips.com, where you can ask questions or send her an email, and there's many free gifts on there for you as well. Come back again.